Hola, bienvenidos. My name is Ann Pomerantz, and I'm serving as an English language specialist at La Universidad Católica del Norte in Coquimbo, Chile. And today you're watching Foundations of English Medium Instruction, Module 1. Let's get started. So, what is English medium instruction? English medium instruction, or EMI as it's known here in Chile, is the teaching of a course in English in an institution where English is not the dominant language. Lister and Ballinger, for example, define EMI as an instructional approach in which non-linguistic curricular content, such as geography or science, is taught to students through the medium of a language that they are concurrently learning as an additional language. So here in Chile, EMI would be the teaching of a course like geography or medicine or law through the language of English rather than Spanish. So, as a kind of language instruction and as a kind of academic content instruction, where do we situate EMI? Well, in a traditional language class, the focus tends to be on language itself, on the learning of grammar, on the learning of vocabulary, and very often this is organized into specific themes or topics. So, for example, in what we call communicative language teaching, where the focus is on using language for real, authentic communication, students might study a topic like on vacation or at the doctor's office, or even something like climate change, and learn vocabulary, grammatical constructions, and even different forms of expression that they can use to engage with that theme. Now, in the middle of the slide is something called Content and Language Integrated Learning, or CLIL, as it's known in Europe. In the United States, this is known as content-based instruction. Here, there's a focus on both language, so in this case English, and the academic content itself. Now, in Content and Language Integrated Learning, or CLIL, or again, as I said, in the United States, content-based instruction, the focus is on learning both language and content simultaneously. This is a kind of instruction that's often used to support new immigrant students in primary and secondary educational contexts. These students are learning both the academic content that is appropriate for their grade level, but they're also learning the language of the school and of the wider community itself. All the way to the right on your screen is EMI, or English Medium Instruction. Here, unlike in a traditional language class where the focus is very much on the language system itself, the focus is on content. And while both the professors and the students recognize that language learning is still something at issue in the course, the focus is on content, and there are supports in place for language learning and for supporting language development. But English learning, and in particular the assessment of English, is not the focus of the course. Now, there are many reasons why institutions choose EMI as a mode of instruction. Some are looking to support students' disciplinary competence in English. Other schools are looking to help their students to participate in more international academic contexts, particularly in contexts where English is used as a lingua franca or a language of wider communication. But of course, also they are supporting participation in international contexts where English is the primary means of communication. For many students, a course in EMI offers preparation for a global market and a kind of mobility and ability to move to different parts of the world to do academic work and professional work. And for many, the goal is simply language proficiency in English, supporting its development, particularly as it relates to particular disciplinary contexts. Now, within an institution, a shift to EMI can be at many different levels. In some institutions, it requires simply a change in language. A course that was taught, for example, all in Spanish, suddenly is now taught primarily or exclusively in English. In other cases, and more often, EMI involves a change in language, so we shift from Spanish to English, but also a change in teaching style. In EMI, there are explicit supports for language development, even though language itself might not be the subject of the course. So, a shift to EMI requires a change in both language, but also a change in teaching style. Finally, in some institutional contexts, there is a change in language, a change in teaching style, and a change in students. Perhaps the offering of a course or a major in English changes who the students are in the course, and thus EMI requires considering both language, teaching style, and attention to who the students are, what their goals are, and what their needs are in the course. Now, for many instructors, EMI is new. They know their disciplinary content, but they're maybe not used to thinking about how to put language supports in place. Now, some people say that every teacher is a language teacher, and every teacher is trying to help students to develop some kind of linguistic competence or communicative competence, not just in a language, but also in how language is used in a particular disciplinary area. So, as you think about who you are as an EMI instructor, how does this idea that every teacher is a language teacher, how does this complicate the definition of EMI? How do you feel about being a language teacher, an English language teacher? Are you comfortable with this idea? Do you feel confident? Are you eager to teach in English? Think about it. So, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.